All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Graham Stone, Shalom to the elect wishing His word in truth and in sincerity, with hope of receiving mercy of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai is the name of His only begotten Son. His so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites according to the prophecies that are written in the scriptures. I want to make it known that the RFID microchip is the MOTB. The serpent juice is the precursor to the MOTB. Yahweh Shai, whom dwelling and called Jesus, is about to make his return upon the earth to deliver his elect and to pour out judgment as it is written. So I'm jump straight into this lesson titled, There Shall Be No Peace. And this was inspired by the meeting that Trump and Zelensky, if I'm pronouncing his name right, had. And Trump was very stern in his response to Zelensky concerning this peace deal, in which it reached the stage where Trump tells Zelensky to come back when he want a peace deal. So basically, I tell him, say, he might go cut off funding, and we're going to watch how these things play out. So irregardless if them do come to an agreement and do get the deal done, there shall be no peace. And I'm not just saying that because that is how I feel. That's what the scripture had said. This is Matthew 10, verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. So let's listen to this clip quickly.
Zelensky, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000 people died this week. Soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple. I'm not looking to get into anything protracted. I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to make, and he wants to end it. And you saw what I saw today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that. Not for this country. He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay? I can tell you. Well, he says he wants it now. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that. I can't. He didn't want to do about ceasefire. A ceasefire could take place immediately. A contract, if you want to end the war, you sign up an agreement. That's going to take a period of time. It takes time. That was not a man that wanted to make peace. And I'm only interested if he wants to end the bloodshed. Thank you very much, everybody. We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelensky, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great. From his standpoint, I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and...
It is a stunning turn of events on the third anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of its smaller neighbor, Ukraine. At the UN General Assembly, America sided with Russia and North Korea in voting against a resolution condemning Russia's war. It came as Emmanuel Macron visited the White House for talks with the French president, saying Donald Trump believed European peacekeepers would be accepted by Russia as a security guarantee underpinning any future deal. The French leader said he'd already spoken to the UK about a deployment, but added that the solidarity and support of America was crucial. Meanwhile, world leaders traveled to Kyiv to pledge further support for Ukraine.
So you already see the division between America and Europe, and that division is gonna be more obvious as we draw close to the day of that great battle. So I want to get on my preset for that. So this is Matthew 12, verse 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And this is you're witnessing the division between the NATO forces, you know, because we're gonna watch events play out to see why the irons that are upon the beast ate the ore so much, and why they might go burn her with fire. And when I say burn her, I'm talking about America. America is that ore written about in Revelation, you know, Mr. Babylon the Great.
The support for Ukraine, with President Zelensky saying, we hope we can finish this war this year. Sir Keir Starmer addressed the summit via video link. We have full coverage for you with the latest from Ukraine, and we'll be live in Moscow and at the UN in New York. But first, Gary O'Donoghue has our top story from Washington.
It was an optimistic President Macron who came to the White House today, the first European leader to head to Washington since President Trump's re-election. His task, an attempt to reach a consensus over ending the war in Ukraine and to stabilize the transatlantic relationship, which has been severely tested.
Again, the relationship's been very special with France and very special with this gentleman on my right.
It looked like the old Le Bromance between these two was back, but the differences weren't far from the surface, notably on the relative contributions to Ukraine from the US and Europe.
Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money, to be clear.
But Donald Trump continues to insist Ukraine hands over half its key natural resources as compensation for America's contribution. And he says such a deal with Ukraine's President Zelensky is close.
I will be meeting with President Zelensky. In fact, he may come in this week or next week to sign the agreement, and which would be nice. I'd love to meet him. Would meet at the Oval Office.
That issue of compensation is another bone of contention between the US.
So as I'm supposed to see how that meeting went, they didn't come to an agreement concerning the peace.
and Europe. It was up to Russia, said the French president, to pay.
This war costed all of us a lot of money. And this is the responsibility of Russia, because the aggressor is Russia.
Where some agreement appears to be emerging is on the question of possible European peacekeeping troops in Ukraine after a truce, something both France and the UK are open to.
We also spoke about these issues at length with the president. We've worked with President Zelensky and gotten to some of the details of the various phases of the negotiation. And we've also been able to speak about some of this work with our British partners to talk about deployments of peace forces on Ukrainian soil, which are part of these security guarantees.
Later, President Macron said progress had been made, including on the question of troops.
And now there's a clear American message that the U.S., as an ally, is ready to provide that solidarity for that.
I've lived through every administration. I've known these presidents. I've known their teams. Nothing changed much from Clinton to Bush to Obama to Trump 1 to Biden. Maybe they got worse step by step. Biden was the worst in my view. Maybe also because he was not compos mentis for the last couple of years. And I say that seriously, not as a snarky remark. The American political system is a system of image. It's a system of media manipulation every day. It is a PR system. And so you could have a president that basically doesn't function and have that in power for 2 years and actually have that president run for re-election. And one damn thing is he had to stand on a stage for 90 minutes by himself. And that was the end of it. Had it not been that mistake, he would have gone on to have his candidacy, whether he was sleeping after 4 p.m. in the afternoon or not. So this is actually the reality. Everybody goes along with it. It's impolite to say anything that I'm saying because we don't speak the truth about almost anything in this world right now. So these are projects. These are long-term events. These aren't, is it?
This world does not want to hear the truth, you know? Because the truth is, World War III is going to take place. The mark of the beast is going to be implemented, which is going to be the RFID microchip. Famine is coming. Pestilence is coming. Much worse, so-called natural disasters, which these are all judgments of Yahweh Bashim Yashai, are coming. This is the truth. A lot of people is going to die in the times to come. You know, now's that time. I'm talking to you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the chosen people of Yahweh Bashim Yashai, to repent and turn to the Lord.
Clinton? Is it Bush? Is it Obama? That's the boring way to look at American politics, as the day-to-day game, but that's not what American politics is. So the next round of NATO enlargement came in 2004 with 7 more countries, the 3 Baltic states, Romania, Bulgaria, Slovenia, and Slovakia. At this point, Russia was pretty damn upset. This was a complete violation of the post-war order agreed with German reunification. Essentially, it was a fundamental trick or defection of the U.S. from a cooperative arrangement, is what.
No, that is how America go about doing things. These Edomites, no matter the deal you and them make, them still gonna go behind your back and do what them choose to do. This is not. So like, yeah, this is not nothing surprising, you know. This is Isaiah 33 verse 1. It read, "Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. And now, these are going to be him allies, yo, which is these European powers. And that's why even in Obadiah, the scripture goes on to even say, Obadiah 5? No, Obadiah 7. So this is Obadiah verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So him see him allies them. We're coming into a time in which they're going to start separate themselves. You know? And America is going to be like that isolated kingdom or rule over all the kingdoms of the earth. And we're just here just watching everything that Yahweh Hashem Yahshua foretold playing out. So I forgot to read the title of this video. It's Jeffrey Sachs destroys NATO as Europe falls.
A cooperative arrangement is what it amounted to, because they believe in unipolarity. So the decision was taken in 1994 to expand NATO all the way to Ukraine. This is a project. This is not one administration or another. This is a U.S. government project that started more than 30 years ago. The idea was that there would be Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, and Georgia as the Black Sea littoral that would deprive Russia of any international status by blocking the Black Sea and essentially by neutralizing Russia as more than a local power. Brzezinski's completely clear about this. And before Brzezinski, there was Mackinder. And who owns the island of the world owns the world. So this project goes back a long time. I think it goes back basically to Palmerston. So this project began, and we had a continuity of government for 30 years, until maybe yesterday, perhaps. 30 years of a project. Ukraine and Georgia were the keys to the project. Why? Because America learned everything it knows from the British. And so we are the wannabe British Empire. And what the British Empire understood in 1853, Lord Palmerston, is that you surround Russia in the Black Sea and you deny Russia access to the Eastern Mediterranean, and all you're watching is an American project to do that in the 21st century. In 1997, Zbigniew Brzezinski wrote The Grand Chessboard. That is not just musings of Mr. Brzezinski, that is the presentation of the decisions of the United States government explained to the public, which is how these books work. And the book describes the eastward enlargement of Europe and of NATO as simultaneous events. And
if you don't understand even concerning what he's really speaking on, you have to go into the history of why the NATO was formed in the first place, to combat the USSR in the Cold War. And an agreement was drawn up, and America and NATO start breach that agreement, start sign up neutral countries to be part of NATO. So they are literally on the borders of Russia. And Russia wasn't going for that. Russia put out so much warning concerning their NATO in expansion. That's the word that they use. But it was falling on deaf ears until this military operation that Putin called it and took place. Now here's where they're at now, looking for a peace deal. But as I said, there shall be no peace.
There's a good chapter in that book that says, what will Russia do as Europe and NATO expand eastward? And I knew Zbig Brzezinski personally. He was very nice to me. I was advising Poland. He was a big help. He was a very nice and smart man, and he got everything wrong. So in 97, he wrote in detail why Russia could do nothing but accede to the eastward expansion of NATO and Europe. In fact, he says the eastward expansion of Europe, and not just Europe, but NATO. This was a plan, a project. And he explains how Russia will never align with China. Unthinkable. Russia will never align with Iran. Russia has no vocation other than the European vocation. So as Europe moves east, there's nothing Russia can do about it. So says yet another American strategist. Is it any question why we're in war all the time? Because one thing about America is we always know what our counterparts are going to do, and we always get it wrong. And one reason we always get it wrong is that in game theory that the American strategists play, you don't actually talk to the other side. You just know what the other side's strategy is. It's wonderful. It saves so much time. You don't need any diplomacy. In 2008, as everybody knows, our former CIA director, William Burns, sent a long message back to Condoleezza Rice. Niet means niet, about expansion. This we know from Julian Assange. Because believe me, not one word is told to the American people about anything.
And that was the agreement, yo. But as I said about these Edomites, they can't. Zelensky and Trump. So we're just keeping an eye on the developments and watch what's going on and declare these things in the ears of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans that now is the time to get right. Now is the time to leave off the ways of this world and turn to Yahweh Hashem Yahshai in truth and in sincerity. So with that, I want to say Kalalal, Yahweh, Hashem Yahshai, Hashem Kodash. Shalom.